In the carefree days of the mid-90s, it was a lot easier to spread tall tales about the NBA and its players. Sure, we had ways of looking things up, but we didn't have the number of comprehensive online resources that we do now. It may be easier to spread gossip and misinformation in the digital age, but it's also easier to fact-check NBA stats and records. I mention this because I recently remembered one of the weirdest tall tales I ever heard as a kid growing up in the 90s, that Michael Jordan was originally drafted by the Charlotte Hornets. Yes, that Michael Jordan and those Charlotte Hornets. It's been a long time, but the tale as I remember it went something like this. When MJ was drafted, there was some kind of mix-up on the part of the Chicago Bulls, either a miscommunication or some other mistake. They ended up drafting someone else, and the Hornets got his heiress instead. However, Phil Jackson protested, David Stern relented, and the entire first round was held again, with MJ now going to the Bulls as they had originally intended. The whole mess led to the draft having the reputation of featuring the biggest blunder in NBA history. If you know your NBA history, you know this ridiculous tall tale to be completely false. NBA records and footage of the original broadcast are evidence enough, but as a tall tale or conspiracy, this one is busted by 3 main facts. 1. Michael Jordan was drafted in 1984, the Hornets didn't enter the league until 1988. 2. Phil Jackson didn't join the team until 1987, where he was an assistant to Doug Collins. He was never the GM, and it was actually Rod Thorne who drafted MJ. Third, and most importantly, the NBA draft simply doesn't work that way. You don't get a do-over if you change your mind. Unfortunately. David Stern being the commissioner is about the only factual detail. So this tall tale is complete nonsense. That's no big revelation. Since remembering it though, I've been wondering how the story came to be. It's possible that it was nothing more than kids making stuff up and seeing who believed it, or maybe repeating an April Fool's joke from some old basketball magazine, but I wonder if some of the real story got mixed up somewhere along the line, or at least formed the basis of the tall tale. The parts that make me wonder are the notions of redoing the draft, and that it was one of the biggest blunders in league history. The 1984 draft, apart from being renowned as one of the greatest in history, is known for what is considered to be a tremendous blunder in hindsight, the Portland Trailblazers taking Sam Bowie ahead of his heiress. There's also debate as to whether the Houston Rockets would take MJ ahead of Akeem Olajuwon if they could go back and redo that draft, though the more likely what if tends to be pairing Jordan up with Clyde Drexler in Portland. Either way, if someone heard bits and pieces of these trivia and debates, I could see them getting the situation mixed up, or deciding that they could be put to use in a tall tale that's entertaining, but a complete fabrication. As for why they chose the Hornets, well, Michael Jordan grew up in North Carolina and was a Tar Heel, so I suppose it makes the story more poetic. Not every NBA fan has an encyclopedic knowledge of facts and dates, and again, this was the mid-90s. It's not like any of us could pull out a smartphone, look up Basketball Reference or Wikipedia, and call BS on it right there and then. For my part, I never believed the story for a moment because I studied every profile, magazine, and basketball card I could get my hands on after I got into hoops. But I have to say, the person who told the story did so with great conviction. However, in situations like this, I would suggest that the truth does have to get in the way of a good story. Arguably, the story has come full circle as Michael Jordan now owns the Charlotte Hornets, but he never played for them and was never drafted by them either. He was taken 3rd overall in 1984 by the Bulls, and that's the only team he played for. Oh, and the Washington Wizards, but we've agreed not to talk about that. What's the strangest NBA tall tale or myth that you've ever heard? Post it in the comments section below, and please stay tuned for more Wayback Wednesday content.